Hi, this is PubShorts. My name is Dr. KK. I'm the Innovation Officer at Trinca and Inago, and PubShorts is a weekly series of items, news stories, and everything related to publishing technology as well as publishing in academia. I have with me Tony. Tony, hi.
Hi, KK, or should I say Guten Tag, KK. I'm getting ready for the Frankfurt Book Fair, which is starting this week. So I've got 4 very busy days ahead of me.
Yes.
I'm Tony O'Rourke. I'm VP for Partnerships here at Inago. And one of the things we do here is Trinca, which is a suite of AI tools that supports the editorial content development process.
Yes, Tony. And because of your schedules, and we have had to, I think, prepone. I think it's a wrong word, but anyway, pre-schedule our
We had a prepone.
Yeah,
we had to prepone something. Yes.
Yes.
We've brought this one slightly forward. That's fine.
Yes. So let's get right to it. So this episode is the 7th episode in our PubShort series, and we are titled it "Careless Misses" to keep up with the streak of episode titles referring to songs. This is obviously referring to the famous George Michael song, and we are covering a lot of misses by researchers and maybe institutions in terms of research integrity. And so let's get right to it. So the first story, Tony, I have is a story regarding China and Gold Open Access. So I'll read out the title of the story. Gold Open Access publisher Frontiers and China's National Science and Technology Library, NSTL, sign a landmark partnership. So I'll quickly read out my notes from it. So Frontiers and so they have signed this partnership. This agreement offers APCs or article processing charge discounts for authors from 9 major Chinese research institutions when publishing in Frontiers neuroscience journals. Now that's probably very important from a China point of view. It aims to enhance global collaboration, accelerate research dissemination, and reduce any financial barriers. And so this is very important. And the whole idea is to increase visibility and the impact of Chinese research globally. So Tony, your thoughts on this?
Oh, listen, I mean, this is fantastic for Frontiers, and this is fantastic for any organization that can create a relationship with the National Science and Technology Library. I mean, it understates it to say that it's 19 institutions, because actually it's a lot more. The Chinese Academy of Sciences, I can't remember how many it is, but it's several hundred institutes within the academy itself, and one of the most prestigious research institutions in China, if not the world. So they've done remarkable. I mean, these kinds of agreements, these sort of licensing agreements, have been going on for over nearly 30 years now. So this is just an extension of what libraries and research bodies have been doing together with publishers to facilitate access to content and to make it easier for their researchers to engage. So I think this is a really interesting news story.
So, Tony, we have a lot of clients from China. We have a sprawling business under 2 verticals in China. Does this affect our clients in any way? You can think
absolutely not at all. Not at all. I mean, okay. If we do an ad break for a moment, our core business, which is helping authors to prepare their content for publication, that's business model agnostic. Whether they're going into an open access journal, whether they're going into a closed access journal behind a firewall. What the author wants to be certain of is what they're sending to the publisher, what's going to be published is as good as possible, regardless of where they're from in the world. So this actually it just helps the authors to achieve their objectives.
Excellent. I also thought the same thing. So I'm moving on to the second one. It is an open access related article. It is an IEEE news item. IEEE becomes the latest publisher to join Get Full Text Research. Get FTR is the acronym. So I'll quickly read out. IEEE has partnered with Get Full Text Research to enhance researchers' ability to access trusted content through popular discovery tools. So how does Get FTR work? It collaborates with publishers and discovery services to streamline the process of finding and accessing research articles and book chapters. And previously, in the last few months or so, Crossref and IOP are the 2 other brands that I remember having read news about that have integrated with Get FTR. So what are your thoughts on this, Tony?
Oh, I mean, if any organization is going to pioneer in these sorts of collaborations, it's going to be the likes of IOP and IEEE, both very pioneering in terms of the way they make content available for researchers. If you look at the role of a professional society, and I think this article actually says that, is to be able to share knowledge in order to improve the state of knowledge and learning and research in a particular space. So this is just another chapter, if you like, in this history of societies wanting to be able to share their content as openly as possible and make it as easy as possible for researchers to have access to that content.
Yeah, interestingly,
many years ago.
Yeah, go on. Finish your thought.
I was going to say many years ago, I was involved when I worked in publishing. I was involved in another sort of similar collaboration, again with IEEE and other societies, in order to help make society content more accessible and more discoverable for researchers. So this is just a really good next step in that kind of journey.
So these two articles, I thought, Tony, Open Access Week is coming up, right? So these are related to open access, and I'm happy that there are positive stories coming that way.
I mean, the one thing I would say is that the Get Full Text research, again, isn't specific to open access content. Get Full Text is for any kind of content. It's just making it easy for researchers to discover that content, whether it's open or not.
Right. I mean, I meant to say that it becomes, both the first couple of stories that we tackle today are in terms of getting research more accessible to the audience. And from that point of view, open access is a leading. And so,
I agree.
Yeah. So I'm moving on to the third story, which is it's a sort of in my opinion, it is either AI or regulatory related, but this is a specific story related to navigating. It's an actual research paper navigating the EU AI Act implications for regulated digital medical products. So the reason why I brought it up, Tony, is because we cater to a lot of clients from a pharmaceutical background or drug making background, and they have when we communicate with them, they have very strict policies regarding AI use, and that's the reason why I wanted to highlight this story.
Understandably so as well.
Yes. So quickly, this AI impacts digital medical products, particularly AI and ML, machine learning enabled medical devices. It mirrors GDPR in terms of comprehensive scope and extra territorial reach. And I was surprised to find that there are about 690 medical devices with AI, which are US FDA approved. And so the idea here is that the providers must implement AI specific quality management systems, AI QMSs, as well as they should provide technical documentation and detailed descriptions of AI system design, data usage, validation, and testing. So from when I read further on this, I realized that the most common, I guess, AI related devices that you might use in the context of health is probably your Apple watches, and Apple is struggling to sort of implement their Apple Intelligence in the European Union. So Tony, your thoughts now on this?
Well, the European Union has a long history of wanting to ensure that new medical products, new medical devices are safe and secure. I think they're absolutely right to build in some kind of regulatory structure in the process. One of the things I thought was interesting in that this is a regulation and not a directive, which means that it's not something that individual member states can opt into or opt out of. Once it's accepted automatically by all EU member states. So I think the challenge I see for them, though, is yes, it's absolutely vital to maintain that kind of strict regulation, but at the same time, they also want to promote the use of AI and encourage the innovation in AI. So I'll be interested to see how they make those two work.
All right, now let's get to the crux of, or the theme of our topic, which is Careless Misses, the first sort of story on research integrity. And this is obviously an article published by our common friend James Butcher. It is his article on the Dimensions blog on two rapidly growing journals. So I'll just read out the highlights. So the article is about the journals Helion and Curious. These were recently acquired by two different publishers. So both have shown very rapid signs of growth in the last few years. Helion in the last couple of years has shown a lot of interesting sort of trends. So Helion is probably can be categorized in the field of biomedical and clinical sciences, whereas Curious may be rare diseases. So what this research found on the basis of the data from Dimensions is that for Curious, the majority of research articles in 2023 had at least one author from the USA, followed by India, and growth in Indian authorship continues, as well as in Helion, a large proportion of papers a large proportion of papers with at least one author from China. So both these journals have been recently put on hold in terms of indexing on Web of Science, which is again it's an
I thought only Helion had been put on hold.
I think it is both as far as my reading goes, but we can confirm it later. And there are other journals like this in terms of showing different publication trends, and some of these listed in the article are International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. So what are your thoughts overall on this aspect, Tony?
I was frankly staggered to see the kind of growth these journals have enjoyed. I think, and for good reason. They're providing a means to a community which perhaps is limited and restricted. I'm going to be curious to watch, particularly with Helion, what the outcome is of the findings that Web of Science is doing, because I think that potentially would have an impact on other large open access journals. Whereby maybe there were different styles of peer review taking place.
Right. As per the article, at least, it says that Helion is on hold, as well as Curious is listed as on hold on the website.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, this is another sort of research integrity related aspects. I mean, I was sort of surprised to find India and US in the list of sort of author contributions. But again, I mean, you can attribute it to just research publications growing, or maybe there is some research, let's say, fraudulence associated with it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I was also particularly interested to see that, for example, I think it was in the case of Helion, was it Helion or Curious, where papers from Saudi Arabia were also growing quite dramatically as well, which I think really shows how research on that market is reaching a global audience, increasingly reaching a global audience.
Right. Another research integrity related. So this is data integrity. I think 1 second. I think I might have. Wait, did I scroll past? Yeah. So this is the one. So data integrity concerns flagged in 130 women's health papers, all by one co-author. So all of these have been co-authored by a researcher, I think, from the Middle East. And what are the types of things they've that were found: statistical oddities and implausibly even numbers and repetitive values. And some papers even feature identical text to previously published articles, like self-plagiarism. Now, several of the retracted papers were cited in meta-analysis. So again, Tony, we have discussed this, whether, what should happen when papers are retracted. Now, this is again another research integrity related story, is the data integrity. So what are your thoughts on it, and how should, let's say, the community move forward?
Well, I'm really pleased to see more of these articles appearing. I think one of the great things about the use of technology now in our industry is that it's able to identify potential issues more easily, more readily than before. None of us really know how the true integrity of the historical literature, because that kind of analysis just didn't take place. So I think it's really important that papers are highlighted, and the literature reflects that.
Right. And another sort of negative mark in the context of medical research and medical literature. So this is a story from, I think, science.org. Did a top NIH official manipulate Alzheimer's and Parkinson's studies for decades? Now, this is a significant, of consequence story. A major investigation raises the concerns about the research integrity of Eliza Maslia, a key figure in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's studies. So many image manipulation cases were detected in 130 of his publications, and obviously he's affiliated to NIH and everything. And so again, another image manipulation related research integrity thing. So this is just, there are so many cases being reported. You said that, there are more cases being reported is good. At least we find out, but how do we sort of get a hold on, or at least control the instances of such research integrity aspects?
Well, it's not just about control, but I think it's how the industry reacts and responds in terms of what measures it puts into action to ensure this is reduced moving forward. What sort of tools, what sort of integrity tools, what kind of checking can take place to allow publishers to be that kind of first barrier, to avoid any sort of future misuse cases.
Okay, and another research integrity related, but this is related to a sort of an institution or an organization doing research integrity. And for the sake of, let's say, I should say, as in to be on the safer side, I'm not going to name the organization here, but this investigation covers the expansive and clandestine network of an organization which is based out of India, actually, and it presents itself as a legitimate organization offering journal publications, conferences, so predatory conferences and everything. And so it is related to many other entities which have been been related to journals like Curious in terms of fast tracking some of the submissions. So this is a big sort of a, I guess, fraudulent publication, like a paper mill or a predatory publisher, predatory organization, that kind of a thing. So what are your thoughts? I mean, I don't want to name the organization because we are also in the same field, but what are your thoughts on the entire story, Tony? It is from Retraction Watch. Yeah.
It's an interesting article. It just shows the kind of the growth and the increasing complexity of some of these organizations and how they're able to recover from potential sort of allegations like this.
Right.
One of the biggest threats I think in the publishing industry has is fraudulent content entering into publication and missing those papers. So, the ability to identify paper mill generated content is going to be critical moving forward.
Right. And
so, but this just illustrates for me, that just by closing down one small part of it, others will pop up somewhere else very quickly, and how complex and how sophisticated these organizations are.
Yes, and again, I'm purposefully not taking the names in this story, but everybody is encouraged to, whoever is listening or watching can go to Retraction Watch, and we'll provide the links to the articles that we are discussing in the show descriptions as well. Please go and educate yourself, but be aware. If you're a researcher, be aware that there are these entities out there who can may not be the, in terms of research, let's say fraud, you might be accidentally pulled into them. So be careful with that. So I have two more stories in the research integrity field. One, this is a straightforward, we are embarrassed, scientific rigor proponents retract paper on benefits of scientific rigor. So it's a scientific faux pas. I think that's the best way to say it. This paper was published in the 9th of November 2023 in Nature Human Behavior, and it explores the benefit of scientific rigor measures like pre-registration, large sample sizes, and methodological transparency, Tony. And post-publication peer review, which is it's a new trend, confirmed concerns about the study's lack of pre-registration, selective outcome measures, and incomplete data reporting. In a statement released on 23rd September, which is a month ago, we have not been able to cover this because of peer review related stuff. The authors expressed embarrassment and accepted the need for correction. So basically, the article says that everybody should do this, but the article itself or the study itself did not do it. What are your thoughts, Tony?
I've got relatively little to say about this, apart from the fact I kind of found the whole article ironic.
Yeah.
And a paper on peer review rigor was retracted because of lack of rigor. It reinforces the importance of rigor in scientific rigor in scientific communication.
Right. And the last story regarding research integrity, after which we have quick hits, is another one from Retraction Watch. So this is actually one good thing. So Taylor and Francis, the article title is Publisher Adds Temporary Online Notification to Articles Under Investigation. So Taylor and Francis began using temporary pop-up notifications in June 2024 to alert readers about ongoing investigation into specific articles. Now, these inform readers to exercise caution with the research presented, but are only visible to on the publisher's website. So this approach is similar to editor's notes used by Springer Nature, and these are reserved to articles or for articles with serious academic integrity concerns, especially where the public health or medical decisions could be impacted. Now, research integrity proponents like Elizabeth Bick and your favorite Rene Aquaris agree with in general this sort of a step. Should all publishers embrace such measures to sort of alert the reader?
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is really, really good work from Taylor and Francis, and I think the other publishers should heed this and implement similar actions themselves, because it's only going to increase the number of retracted or potentially observed or investigate papers will increase over time, and there needs to be some way of to identify what those papers are, because it ultimately may impact on future literature.
Right. So quick hits, Tony. Nobel season again. Last time we talked about a couple of Nobel Prizes. So we have new Nobel Prizes. Chemistry Nobel goes to two people. One, both related to protein folding and AI. One from Google, DeepMind, and the other who basically a person who laid the foundation and eventually created something called Rosetta, and which is eventually converted to Rosetta Fold. So Tony, are you excited about such protein folding and AI? I mean, we are talking AI in every...
I can't say that protein folding is something that keeps me awake at night, not being a chemist, but I'm sure there are many out there who are. I think the last two announcements for the Nobel Prize this year just really kind of reinforces how influential and how important AI is. Both of these, for physics and for AI. The physics award was around the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, the basics, the groundstones for artificial intelligence. And this one is about the use of intelligent tools. What really interested me about the chemistry paper, though, was how quick it went from generation to awarding a paper. So 6 years. The first paper was published in 2018, is astounding. So congratulations to those three gentlemen concerned.
Yes. So and the sort of Nobel related, the second news story, quick hit, is a South Korean author, Han Kang, wins the 2024 Nobel Prize in Literature. So, so she's been awarded for intense poetic prose that confronts historical traumas and exposes the fragility of human life. She's won several awards for different books in the past, and she seems to be surprised by this award. So, have you read any of her books?
I haven't. I'm afraid. No, I'm ignorant as it comes to her work, so I'll make sure I try and read something.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of quick hits. How to win a Nobel Prize. I just want to say that this was an interesting article from Nature. So it turns out that almost all the Nobel laureates share the same connection, however distant, and as represented in a sprawling network, which you can find if you read this article. So an incredible 702 out of 736 researchers who have won science and economics prizes up to 2023 are part of the same academic family, connected by an academic link in common somewhere in their history. So that is, I guess it is a little concerning that a group of people seem to be winning. What do you think, Tony?
I'm not sure what to say here. I mean, what's the link? They all went to Cambridge. They all went to Harvard. They all went to the top schools in the world. I think we can find links very easily between scientific communities. I think we should be celebrating Nobel Prize winners rather than criticizing their background.
Right. And the last story, there are some other awards other than the Nobel Prizes which reward like the Abel Prize for Mathematics, the Millennium Technology Prize, the Draper, that is for recognizing inventions that improve the quality of life, and the Turing Award for Computer Science. So I just wanted to bring to the listeners and viewers' minds that it's not just Nobel Prizes. There are so many other prizes out there that people aspire to, and they are working towards. So Nobel is a very difficult thing to achieve, I suppose. So this is an interesting thing. You can find more about these awards in the show descriptions. But if you have a chance, please read through the article. So that brings us to the end of this episode. Tony, before we leave the audience, what are your plans for? Do you have consolidated plans for the Frankfurt Book Fair? You said you will talk about.
My plans for the Frankfurt Book Fair is to spend 3 days meeting as many of my industry contacts as possible and furthering our various conversations regarding AI and the use of AI within their organizations.
And would you be keeping up with the rest of the world on your LinkedIn or something about what
I
you
will.
do?
I will. I'm not. I won't be completely shut off. There is Wi-Fi in Frankfurt, so I will be keeping up to date.
All right. So if listeners want to reach out to you and suggest something, how do they do that?
As always. Absolutely. Just contact me at tonyo@inago.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yes. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, and you can search for PubShorts or Inago or Trinka on any of the social media platforms. And you can, like, share, subscribe. It always helps the content to move forward. And if you have any suggestions, please drop us a note on any of these social media platforms. We do our best to incorporate those suggestions in.
And we thank everyone that sent their suggestions through so far.
Yes. And on behalf of everyone who helps us in putting out such content, this is Dr. KK signing off. Bye, Tony. Have a great time in Frankfurt. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
See you in the next one. Bye-bye.